Good morning and welcome to Korea Today, brought to you live from Seoul.
Restarting the multi-billion-dollar tender process, Seoul rejects Boeing's fourth-generation fighter jets lacking in stealth capabilities, raising concerns over the inevitable delay in replacing an aging fleet.
Prosecutor General Choi Dong-hook has sued one of the nation's most popular dailies, 조선일보, over a love child scandal. More coming up in the headlines.
The government's aborted plan on those fighter jets is also big news on the newspapers. We'll show it to you on in print.
And hot and spicy noodles that has been loved by Koreans over half a century. Stay tuned for that later. Also on Korea Today, in time for the popular wedding season in Korea, we'll answer questions about all the steps one takes before walking down the aisle and saying I do. Then we'll take you to Gukgiwon, the mecca of Taekwondo, where the history of Korea's martial arts has lived on for the past 4 decades. Live on this Wednesday, September 25th, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning, and thank you for joining us on this already Wednesday morning on Korea Today.
That's right. Good morning, everyone. Global credit ratings agency Standard & Poor's has maintained Korea's sovereign ratings at A+ with a stable outlook, citing the country's favorable policy environment as well as a sound fiscal position and broadly balanced external liability position.
Okay, some of the details in their decision include a consistent current surplus as well as a very internationally active currency, which basically leads to reduced risks from foreign currency debt. And also, as you mentioned, the healthy fiscal position, that actually helps out a lot, and that helped them keep this rating on Korea's credit rating.
That's right. But the agency added that North Korea will not experience significant political instability in the next few years, but a possible reunification of the two Koreas will likely bear some heavy costs to South Korea.
All right, we're going to get it started with your headlines with Na Hyun-kyung on Korea Today.
And as you heard, no final winner was announced for Korea's fighter experimental project, which aims to replace the nation's aging fleet of combat aircrafts. The Defense Ministry said Boeing's F-15 Silent Eagle had been the sole candidate because it was the only model that met the Korean government's price range, but most of the participating panel voted against the model.
The majority of the panel voted against, considering North Korea's increasing missile and nuclear threats, as well as the current trend in the global air defense industry that centers around high-tech fighter jets.
The Defense Acquisition Program Administration says procedures for the more than $7 billion deal will be relaunched from square one. Many experts say this can be seen as the government's will to equip the country with more advanced stealth fighters. Boeing has expressed its deep disappointment, saying it has rigorously followed Seoul's instructions throughout the entire bidding process. The man in question, Prosecutor General Choi Dong-hook, filed a lawsuit Tuesday against one of the nation's most widely read dailies, the 조선일보. Choi, whose resignation has been submitted but not yet accepted by the presidential office, has asked the son in question to cooperate and submit to a DNA test. He's also demanding the daily retract its report and apologize for publishing a quote-unquote 100% incorrect and groundless story. The 조선일보 claimed Choi bore a son out of wedlock and that the son is currently studying in the U.S. The Justice Ministry had announced plans to launch an inspection into the matter, but Choi has refused to comply. The main opposition party says all of this is part of a devious plan by the presidential office to appoint someone that suits the taste of 청와대 to lead the prosecution. The Finance Ministry, along with related ministries, is scheduled to announce its plans to help the nation's local governments sustain their fiscal conditions. This comes as the provincial governments have been struggling to balance their books in the face of the central government deciding to expand free daycare programs for parents and a drop in tax revenues. Earlier this month, the ministry suggested increasing the ratio of state subsidies coming from the central government for daycare services by 10 percentage points, as well as introducing measures to make up for dwindling tax revenues. But the local governments say this is not enough. Attention now lies on whether the central government can come up with more attractive plans for the provincial governments today. The interest on the government debt for this year has surpassed the 20 trillion won mark, or roughly $18.6 billion, according to data released by the Finance Ministry and the Parliamentary Finance Committee. This means every Korean would have to shoulder over $370 of interest for the government debt this year. The ratio of the country's spending on interest payments to its fiscal budget has jumped to nearly 8% in 2013 compared to only 6% in 2006. Now, experts attribute the increase to a surge in government spending during the global financial crisis. Korea's national debt is drawing ever nearer to some 465 billion US dollars, and by the year 2015, the figure is expected to hit $475 billion.
And good morning, everyone. Our top story on the newspapers today is also the government's aborted plan to purchase next-generation fighter jets this time around. We'll take a look at a few stories related to it, so let's go ahead and launch things off with a look at the front page of Gyeongyang Shinmun. Now, the front page image shows Choo Shin-soo of the Cincinnati Reds at bat. He made a U.S. Major League record yesterday, and our sports guy, S.J. Lee, will tell you what that record was later on in this show. Meanwhile, the main headline to the side here reads, Next Generation Fighter Jet Selection Ends in Failure. The Defense Acquisition Program Administration goes back to the start. This after the bidding process for the procurement project was into full gear some 2 years ago in January of 2012. 3 serious candidates had come to the fore: the Lockheed Martin's F-35A, EAD's Eurofighter, and Boeing's F-15SE, but only the Boeing met the government's budget of $7.7 billion after months of negotiation at that. But in the end, the committee headed by Defense Minister Kim Kwon-jin in yesterday's meeting cast its majority vote against proceeding with the F-15SC. The paper says they considered its comprehensive evaluation results, the trends of the world's aviation technology, as well as the current security situation, not excluding the North Korean nuclear threat. By returning to the start, the newspaper says that the project that was to replace Korea's combat aircraft from the 1970s will take at least another 14 months to 2 years. And over at 동아일보, it also has a similar headline. It reads, F-15SE rejected. Fighter jet procurement back to square one. And the article says the decision to not move forward with the F-15SC was unexpected, as many anticipated DAPA would have no choice but to go with the only choice that met the budget. But as public concern grew over the aircraft's lack of competitiveness in stealth technology, you'll remember last week, a group of former Air Force Joint Chiefs of Staff made news when they issued an unprecedented joint statement against purchasing the F-15SEs. Tonga says it appears the committee leading the project changed its stance at the last minute.
Well, with the rest of the world going with the 5th generation jet fighters, you can't sit there and buy a 4th generation jet fighter for your whole fleet. Now, so it's back to the drawing board for the Defense Ministry, but there have been past bids by Lockheed Martin as well as Eurofighter. Are there any companies that seems to have the upper hand at this point?
It's funny you should mention that, because because 동아일보 actually does say that it's the Lockheed Martin's F-35 that looks to have the best shot right now, as the paper sees the committee's decision as a return to that commitment to purchase the best next-generation fighter jets with strong stealth capability. But the question now is that of money. And on that note, we'll turn to our next newspaper, 조선일보. Its headline reads, "In 6 years, we will be short of 100 fighter jets." The original plan was to have the potential contractor deliver some 60 jets for 5 years from the year 2017. The article says with this delay, the Air Force now estimates that by year 2019, it will be short 100 fighter jets. It also notes that the budgeting process was off from the start. It says that the Defense Ministry had initially assigned some 9.7 trillion won, that's about $9 billion, to the project back in 2009. But 2 years later, it was revised to 8.3 trillion won, that's about $1.3 billion less, despite the National Assembly's opposition to it. So in the end, it was clear that the budget would fall short, according to the paper. And with that, we'll wrap your look at how the newspapers covered the topic today in print. Next up, your closing numbers from Tuesday's market action.
And it's 11 minutes past the hour on Korea Today. You know, it was supposed to take a dip in temperatures, but it didn't seem that cold this morning.
No, not really.
All right, for more on the weather, we'll be joined by Lee Dami, joining us from Chongno. Good morning, Dami.
Good morning, Dami.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm reporting live from the heart of Seoul, 종로구, Seoul. Now, yesterday we did receive nationwide precipitation, but thankfully not as much as we thought we would receive. Conditions did clear out here in Seoul and most parts of the nation, but for those of you residing over in the East Coast areas, you may want to keep your umbrellas handy because the rain will continue until later in the afternoon. Now that the conditions have cleared up today, temperature-wise, it is 18 degrees Celsius, but it does feel a bit cooler because there is a strong wind that is blowing here in the atmosphere. Now, as the week progresses day by day, temperatures will be dipping, and by Friday, it'll drop all the way to 11 degrees Celsius. However, over the weekend, mornings will jump back up into the higher teens. So all in all, the weather is getting colder, so make sure to keep yourselves healthy by dressing accordingly and eating healthy. All right, well, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather for Korea. Here in the nation's capital, highs will rise to 23. Daejeon and Daegu not far off at 24 and 25. Gangneung will be the coolest at 19. Busan at 25. Gwangju at 26. And Jeju Island at 24 degrees. That's all I have for now. I'll be back in the latter half after sports.
There are many dishes that Koreans love to eat, and we can't leave out this one. This is also a Korea Today favorite, and that's instant ramen.
Right? Your mouth is watering as you're saying that, right?
Yes.
Korean ramen has created a huge market worth some 2 trillion won, or about 1.9 billion US dollars. And there are a lot of varieties to choose from, which goes to show the popularity of Korean ramen. And it's going strong overseas as well. And to tell us more, we have Kim Chun-ju, who is also a big ramen lover herself, right?
You have rice with the ramen after
Exactly.
the ramen, right?
And I think since the weather is getting chilly, it's a perfect time for those hot and
Right.
spicy noodles. And of course, ramen is been introduced in Korea for some time, but this year marks the 50th year since it was first introduced in the country. And ramen is being loved by so many people around the world. So I went out to find out why Koreans love these instant noodles and how this became such popular food in Korea.
Korean men and women of all ages love this particular taste.
the combination of chewy noodles and spicy soup, ramyeon is arguably one of the most loved dishes, and it has now become a food you cannot go without for many Koreans.
Ramyeon is spiced and has a hearty flavor. I crave for ramyeon on a rainy or a gloomy day.
When I feel hungry at night, I always love some good ramen before going to bed.
I want ramen in morning when I've gone out for drinks the night before.
Eating ramyeon creates a certain atmosphere. You get to enjoy ramyeon with your friends or with other groups. It's a comfort food that you can share with everyone.
In 1963, after the Korean War was over, people were barely able to get enough food to eat. Ramen was first introduced to the country during these desperate times. Ramyeon originates from the Chinese noodles ramyeon. Later, Japan developed instant noodles and Korea adopted this technology. This was how Korean ramyeon was born. Ramyeon was sold at 10 won or a penny when first launched, but now the price has jumped to 700 or 800 won on average. In the span of half a century, ramyeon has become a staple food for Koreans.
September 15th marked the 50th anniversary of Korean instant noodles ramen. In the early 1960s, many people in the country could not afford to have 3 meals a day. People used to cook sujebi or hand-torn noodle soup made with flour. And even then, it was only 2 meals a day on average. Ramen played an important role for Korea in overcoming food shortages, and since then, it has made a mark in the culinary culture and became one of the representative foods.
Ramyeon is a must-have grocery item for many. Their love for these instant noodles is particular. This year, Korean ramen industry is worth 2 trillion won, or roughly $1.9 billion US, with over 200 different types of ramen to choose from. One person in Korea consumes 1.4 ramyons every week, and now Korea is the world's biggest ramen consumer, with 3.6 billion ramyons being eaten a year. The noodles in one packet are 49 meters long, so the total amount consumed adds up to 4,400 circles around the globe.
I go grocery shopping once a week and I tend to purchase ramen every time. And when we have ramen in our house, I feel reassured like we have rice.
People boil ramen whenever they go outdoors or go on trips. It's easy to cook and eat, and that's why I think many of us favor ramen.
Ramyeon is inexpensive and easy to cook. Plus, the variety in taste and flavor is the reason why the instant noodles are called a revolutionary food of the 20th century. The unique hot and spicy taste is now being loved around the world and winning the hearts of many ramyeon enthusiasts. Korean ramyeon is both appealing to people in Korea and around the world. Recently, one popular brand launched a ramyeon with halal certification for Muslims. It's exported to 80 countries worldwide, and the amount of exports surpassed $200 million last year for the first time. Now you can easily find ramyeon on the shopping list of many visitors coming to Korea. There have been many new attempts in the Korean ramen industry to produce healthier premium ramyeons to change the stereotype of being an unhealthy instant food.
Korean ramen does not add MSG, and also noodles are fried, therefore there are no preservatives. Power seasoning includes 30 to 50 types of natural ingredients. Using fresh, good ingredients with scientific basis shows that ramen is a trustworthy food for consumers at home and abroad, which is why ramen can become an international food.
All right, that's the history, the 50 years of history of ramen.
Absolutely.
So it originated from China and Japan, but then Korean ramen now is gaining popularity overseas. When and how did Korean ramen did it become known overseas and being imported there?
Well, Korean ramen started being exported to overseas during the 1970s and 80s. That time, they mainly targeted Koreans living overseas and Asians. But it wasn't until during 1988 Seoul Olympics that Koreans enjoying cup noodles were spotted, and it was seen internationally, and that naturally promoted the product. And also, recent Korean wave helped increase the popularity with Korean dramas and entertainment programs showing people enjoying these yummy noodles.
And Korean ramen has a lot of competitors out out there, including the arch rival Japanese ramen. Now, I think hands down Korean ramen tops the
Has to be
list, but I
spicy.
think it suits the Korean palate, right?
Exactly. Compared to ramyuns in other countries, Korean ramen particularly comes with a hot and spicy taste, and the noodles are very chewy. So that's why it's very well received internationally, and also Koreans love that because of the hot and spicy taste. And it is actually a funny fact is that it is known that the powder seasoning of ramyeon is as spicy as the Korean chilies, and why the ramyeon noodle in particular is very chewy and tasty than other regular Korean noodles.
I was surprised to see a whole museum made for contributed to the ramen, but a lot of companies are investing a lot in their products as well.
Absolutely. The food research institutes of Korean ramen companies in Korea, they're always concentrating on coming up with the fresh ingredients and new products. And in particular, they regularly attend international food expos around the world to improve the food product quality and the taste. And if I could tell you one of the example of one of the major brand in Korea, they said that while covering the story, I found out that they took about 2 years to come up with one new product that's out on the shelf right now. And that comes with a huge amount of investment, including building new facilities and also conducting research. So as you can see, Korean ramen companies are making so many various efforts and new attempts to improve their product quality and taste, and also to attract more consumers around the world.
And consumers are trying to make their own improvements with their own
Right.
personal
Exactly.
Eggs or without eggs, right? That's the million-dollar question.
spring
all the
onions
time.
or not, right?
Of course. Thank you, Jeonju, for giving us that appetite, that
My
morning
pleasure.
appetite.
Okay, who's hungry?
All right.
21 minutes past the hour on Korea Today, and still ahead, we're going to visit Gukgiwon, and that is the epicenter of Korean Taekwondo. Now, it's led the way in globalizing the increasingly popular sport. We take you to Gukgiwon to see what heated action is taking place and what role the organization plays.
Autumn is a popular wedding season here in Korea, and gone are the days brides are dressed up in hanbok with their yeonji, gonji, but these Korean weddings have gone Western style, and a lot of things to choose from, the dresses and the photo studios as well as makeup studios, but brides are happy to lose sleep over those decisions, right?
That's right. It's the best day for the bride, right? Many people will see traditional Korean weddings here in Korea, and Korea is great because you have that option of a Western style wedding or a Korean style or a fusion of both. Let's take a look at weddings in Korea.
Surrounded by cheering guests celebrating this special occasion, the bride enters, tosses her bouquet, and gracefully exits. It seems no different than any other wedding. But at these Korean weddings, there are hidden elements that foreigners are a bit puzzled about.
Why so many people came to Korean weddings? Why they so big weddings?
Family, four relatives, friends, and friends of friends, anyone who has a connection to either of the newlyweds and their families seems to have gathered here today.
My daughter's wedding allows even our far relatives to gather. Weddings in Korea act as venues for socializing.
The average number of guests at a Korean wedding is around 300. It's widely believed that the number of guests directly reflects the social status and the influence of the parents.
Why do Korean people, when they are giving wedding gift, why do they give money?
Why cash? There is no gift registry because cash is considered a more practical gift. Traditionally, odd numbers are considered lucky, so cash gifts are given in odd number units.
Who declares the couple married?
Well, that person is called jure. A jure does not have the authority to declare the couple as legally married, but plays a very important role in a wedding ceremony. With more experience in life and in marriage, the Jure offers words of wisdom and a blessing to the couple. Actors, politicians, comedians, and religious leaders, regardless of their jobs, any adult the couple looks up to can be a Jure. And speaking of interesting Korean wedding customs, recently a certain trend has been gaining interest from others overseas. It's gaining so much popularity that over 10,000 foreigners visit Korea for their wedding preparations each year. So just what is it?
I don't know what is 스드메. What is it?
That's right, it's called 스드메. 스드메 is short for studio, dress, and makeup. 스드메 is what Korean couples preparing for their weddings focus on the most.
Currently, dress selection, makeup, and studio photo shoots dominate Korea's wedding industry. Along with the Korean wave, Korea's wedding industry is especially popular in China and also Singapore, Hong Kong, and other Southeast Asian countries.
Korean 스드메 package deals are unique because they have a luxurious and sophisticated appeal. Beautiful wedding photos of Hallyu celebrities also fueled this interest from other countries. A variety of backdrops and lavish props allow couples to become a prince and a princess that almost look like celebrity photo spreads.
There are various backdrops in the studio, so I am very satisfied since I can take advantage of a lot of different atmospheres in one location. We were able to create different moods with various backdrops, so this is definitely a memorable experience.
Cute, sexy, and elegant. Wedding photo albums like this, where couples act out different scenes, are very popular. And the wedding dress. They're very expensive in Korea, so many opt for rental dresses. But there is something called customized rentals, where a bride is allowed to tailor the rental dress or order a new customized dress for return.
Women fantasize about their wedding dresses because you only get one dress. I'm torn because they're all so pretty. It's so hard to pick one. They're all beautiful. It's a happy problem to have. When would I ever get to wear another dress like this?
Instead of bold and heavy makeup, Korean bridal makeup is known for having a soft, glowing, natural look. This also directly reflects the latest Hallyu makeup trends.
Korean brides focus on their eye makeup and blush. No bold colors, instead they prefer soft, glowing makeup. They want to look rosy and young.
It may seem like hundreds of guests attend the ceremony because they have to, but their blessing for the happy newlyweds are found in small details. These unique Korean wedding customs are transforming Korea's wedding industry into a new Hallyu culture. That happy moment, right?
Catching the bouquet or throwing the bouquet? Or
Throwing the bouquet, of course.
Right. Well, so after the end of a traditional wedding, Western-style wedding, we have what's called pebek, and that comes after, at the end. That's when the bride is officially introduced to the family of the groom, and you can actually make a lot of money through this. You know,
Right.
they hand you a lot of money,
too,
right?
And use it on your honeymoon, right?
So you can, so you see it right there in our video, and they're giving respects to their family members. That's chestnuts being thrown, and however many you catch, means
And also
however.
I would say they're dates.
Dates. Oh, excuse me. The
And
kids,
chestnuts,
right? The kids that you're gonna have, right? And then photo opportunities there. So this is a fine mix of Western and also Korean traditional culture mixed
Right,
in.
so the grandmas and grandpas to be, they throw like 1,000 to you, but then you only want to catch one or two. You don't want that many kids, right? But yeah, as you heard in the report, some 10,000 foreigners visit Korea for their wedding preparations, and especially popular among the Chinese. And one couple on average spends about $4,300 to over $9,000, which is quite a fortune, really. Wow.
A lot of this roots from Korean dramas as well as Korean films showing scenes of weddings, as well as Korean celebrities, which have very high-profile weddings, and it's always aired everywhere, even in news or entertainment news of other countries.
You know what? I'm sorry, I have to ruin the mood, but I mean, some critics do say that
the party
There it is.
Yes, the party pooper. They do say that the culture is getting out of control. On average, the wedding costs about $18,000, and on top of that, $46,000 goes into dowry and home furnishing, honeymoon. So some people are actually going and opting out of the photo shoots and designer dresses and the professional makeup, and they're going for smaller weddings and only inviting a couple of your friends and maybe families, relatives.
Very
So
intimate.
whatever
Instead of having
floats your boat, right?
Right, exactly. And instead of having this humongous wedding that will cost you a fortune.
And a wedding expo is the place to be if you want to find out the latest trends and the popular items for the season, right? So, and there are at least 10 wedding expos going on until next month. So if you are planning to get married, if you have those plans to walk down the aisle, maybe this is your chance,
That's right. Get a look at some of the designs and styles out there, and then personalize your wedding just the way you want, right? All right, still ahead on Korea Today, we're going to take a look at smartphone accessories, things that go with the smartphone, because it's all about the smartphone these days. We show you some accessories and devices that work alongside your phone to provide you with functions that you would never have thought of. We bring you 3 gadgets. One of them is a case. Check it out.
Before Korean dramas and films became popular, we can safely say that Taekwondo is what started it all for the Korean wave. And today we're going to take you to the mecca of Taekwondo, Gukgiwon. And for that story, we have Peter Bint. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Did you ever take Taekwondo?
I was actually scared of all the shouting when I was little.
I'm
not so scared anymore.
경례.
Yeah, so I got a bit nervous doing this piece. But Taekwondo was created here in Korea, and it's now a globally recognized sport. It's in the Olympics and everything like that. And Gukgiwon had a big part to play in that. It led to the establishment of the World Taekwondo Federation and hosted the first World Taekwondo Championship as well. And they also host these international training tours so that other countries can come learn new techniques which help refine the art of Taekwondo. So why don't we go behind the doors of Gukgiwon and learn more about its 40-year history and also the soul of Taekwondo. Surrounded by flashy buildings in Gangnam, the history and soul of Taekwondo lies within this cultural facility, Gukgiwon. Gukgiwon first opened its doors in November 1972. Not to be confused with the Korea Taekwondo Association, which oversees the overall field of Taekwondo, Gukgiwon was established to supervise the traditional martial art and spread its value. Gukgiwon offers state-of-the-art facilities to maximize training for athletes from all over the world. There is a 2,300 square meter gymnasium for international competitions and events, lecture rooms and dormitories. It's a training center not only for Korean, but also foreign Taekwondo practitioners as well. The place has a rich 40-year history. $140,000 went into building the 7,600 square meter compound with a traditional palace rooftop. After being established, Gukgiwon recruited athletes to perform demonstrations to promote the sport. Formed in 1974, the demo team traveled all over the world and has performed around 700 shows. From breaking, self-defense, to combination routines, they showcase the true art of Taekwondo.
Piece of cake.
I'd like to see you do that. I'll get some boards.
Can you imagine me
I joined the Taekwondo demo team because I wanted to show off how amazing Korea's Taekwondo is to the world. Performing feels especially worthwhile when I can connect with the audience.
As a result of their hard work, Taekwondo is practiced in 192 countries by about 100 million people. Since 1998, Kukkiwon has made special efforts to groom foreign Taekwondo master instructors and provide technique and theory classes for interested foreigners. Also, Korean masters are sent abroad to teach and spread the word among the public. One of Kukkiwon's main responsibilities is to conduct Taekwondo promotion tests every week.
안녕하세요. 친구 어디 가고 있어요?
홈티 따라요.
홈티? 얼마나 했어요, 태권도?
2년.
많이 했네.
That kid can probably knock it out.
The Taekwondo promotion test measures the technique and training level and rewards certifications. For children, they test the basic sequence of form called pumse and sparring called kyorugi. Entry-level tests are conducted at individual studios, and only Taekwondo practitioners with over 1 year of training are allowed to take tests at Kukkiwon.
I like going through promotion tests. It allows me to learn new techniques.
Kukkiwon is one of the world's highest group of authority on Taekwondo promotion tests. Practitioners of all levels, ages and weight classes get tested throughout the year.
Because I went to Kukkiwon, I'm getting a bit nervous and it's pretty fun too.
Some intense cheering for future Taekwondo athletes.
At the Kukkiwon, you take your promotion tests in a somber atmosphere, and I feel proud seeing my child in the uniform.
As Taekwondo is Korea's national sport, I have gained great pride and confidence from practicing it.
This is Kukkiwon, the world's mecca for Taekwondo, where history continues to unfold.
As you mentioned, Taekwondo has been an Olympic sport, an official Olympic sport for the past 6 consecutive games since its adoption in 2000 at the Sydney Olympics. And if you go to Kukkiwon, you can get a look at all the timeline and history of Taekwondo, yes?
Yeah, that's right. There's a memorial hall there, so kind of like a mini museum. And it's got lots of Taekwondo artifacts there, including some early protective pieces made from bamboo. I'm sure that would have hurt the person kicking you. But also some posters from past Olympics, some medals as well. And there's also a multimedia area where you can catch highlights, competition highlights of Korean Taekwondo athletes.
I mean, we all saw the moves. They're like a performance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to see some more, there's actually a Kukkiwon demonstration group that does this. You know, this isn't just people like me and Young going out and doing it, I promise. And they're doing it at the Namsan Gol Hanok village, which is right here in Seoul, until the 3rd of November. So they're showing off their fancy moves and doing some sequential moves. But you can also take part yourself, give it a try. You have to register in advance, but once you complete the training session, this is especially for foreigners, they give you a Kukkiwon certificate, so you can show that off, even put it on your resume. So,
really?
If you want, you can go to the website, which is www.taekwonseoul.org for more information and to register.
Sounds like a lot of fun there.
Right, and this is where you go to get your black belt certified
Sure.
too, right?
I think we need to get the lower ones first, me and you.
And I have some more commands that to scare you. There's 그만, there's 해산, and those are for you now.
That's why I didn't like it. I'm going to stop.
해산.
Come on. Okay. Sorry.
For you. Thank you, Peter, for that
Thanks a lot.
story.
All right, thank you very much. Coming up with is your sports updates with SJ right after this.
And a good Wednesday morning to you all. And what a Monday night for Korea's very own choo-choo train, Choo Shin-soo, who's having an absolutely amazing season so far. But on Monday night, he was the hero. The Cincinnati Reds going up against the New York Mets at home. Choo Shin-soo goes 3 for 6 on the night, including a game winner in the bottom of the 10th inning as the Cincinnati Reds take the game 3-2. With the win, the Reds clinch postseason, but more importantly, Choo Shin-soo with 2 stolen bases on the night finally achieved another 2020 season as he now sits at 21 home runs and 20 stolen bases. Of course, with Choo Shin-soo in his final contract year, he's expected to receive as much as $100 million contract this offseason. And staying in the majors, but this time to another Korean major leaguer, Lee Hyun-jin. That's right, with the rookie pitcher having a great season so far with the LA Dodgers. It's time for him to go after his 14th win of the season. Now, the 25-year-old lefty, who's currently 13-7 with a respectable ERA of 3.03, will be going up against the San Francisco Giants, who are struggling this season. And on the mound against Lee Hyun-jin will be Matt Cain, who's been struggling as well, with a record of 8-9 with an ERA of 4.06. The Dodgers already clinching the NL West. Lee Hyun-jin needs to finish off strong to get himself in the top 3 starting rotation going into the postseason. And more baseball, this time back here in the nation as we take a look at some Tuesday night's KBO action. Now we had some rain in Seoul and the surrounding areas as the Nexon Heroes and the Hanwha Eagles were canceled due to the weather. But the Lotte Giants were able to cruise past the Kia Tigers 8-2 as Kia now sits tied for 7th with the NC Dinos. So with that said, let's take a look at the other game that took place last night. The Samsung Lions taking on the SK Wyverns. Of course, shifting into the game, here we go over to the second inning of the game. Here's Chung Young-sik, a 2-run single to center field as he advances to second base on the throw. And right off the bat, the Samsung Lions take an early 2-0 lead. But we're not done yet. Let's make this one 3-0 thanks to Park Han-hee's RBI single to center and Samsung in control early on. And shift over to the 5th inning. Choi Young-woo at bat. He drills this one deep to right field and back. Got a solo shot to right, and it's 4-0 Samsung. But bottom of the inning, here's Kim Gang-min. He's going to send this one to deep left field. 4-1 Samsung Lions. Same inning, Chung Sang-ho this time, and he sends this one to deep right field. And here we go, gone another solo shot from the SK Wyverns, and the score is now 4-2. 6th inning, more long balls. This time, Kim Tae-won, and here it goes. Back, and it is gone. A solo shot to deep left field, and Samsung now takes a 5-2 lead. Moving on to the next inning, remember him, Kim Gang-min? Well, another solo shot to left, his second home run on the night. Next play, Chung Sang-ho, once again a sac fly to right, cuts the deficit to 5-4, but the Samsung Lions able to hold on to take this game 6-4 as they now take a 1-game lead over the LG Twins. All right, shifting gears to football, where FC Seoul will be going into their semifinals match in the AFC Champions League later tonight against Esteghlal of FC of Iran. Now, with the first leg of the semifinals kicking off later tonight at the Seoul World Cup Stadium at 7:30 p.m., FC Seoul hopes to take advantage of playing at home for the first leg. While K-League Classic teams dominated the AFC Champions League last season, FC Seoul is the only Korean team left this season, as Dejan Dynjanovic and Molina hope to get them into the finals this season. Meanwhile, FC Seoul is currently 4th place in the league standings, just trailing Pohang by 3 points. And finishing things off on the ice, more good news for the Korean women's curling team. That's right, they beat Canada 9-6 in the China Open Finals. The women's team continue to wow all the fans right now as they're set to compete in the 2014 Sochi Winter Games for the first time in the nation's history. So congratulations to them, and that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
time now to check back in with our Dami, who I believe is handing out some food to commuters, right? Morning commuters.
All right,
Let's
we'll
go back
take a look.
to her and see what that is about. Dami, over to you.
That's right, I'm back reporting live inside Gyeongbokgung Station, line number 3, where a special event is taking place. It's none other than the Good Morning Seoul campaign held by the Seoul City government. So through this campaign, they're hoping to give off a good and energetic start to the day of the people here in Seoul. Now, we all know that breakfast is a vital meal of the day, but with a busy city life here in Seoul, a lot of us tend to forget or skip breakfast with the excuses that we have. So through this campaign, they're giving out breakfast to the people on their commute to work. Now, here at Gyeongbokgung Station, today they will be handing out 1,000 soup bowls, and it will be held on other days at different locations, such as the 26th, it'll be held at Myeongdong Station, and the 27th at Jamsil Station. All right, so I want to go ahead and show you what exactly is inside these soup bowls, okay? So inside, let me go ahead and open the cap. Ooh, look at that nice and steamy gukbap. So it's basically rice with hot soup. And all you have to do is add in hot water and leave it for about 4 to 5 minutes, and you have a hearty breakfast, which is nice and simple, but delicious and nutritious. So let me go ahead and have a taste. This is really good. So basically, through this campaign, they're trying to promote the Good Morning Seoul campaign and also, let people aware of how important breakfast is. If you'd like to voice your opinion, then go ahead and contact them through Twitter. All right, so this was your look at Seoul City Good Morning Seoul campaign. That's all I have for now. Don't forget to have your breakfast, everyone. I'm Idami, Korea Today.
All right, we have hot items for today. Angela Park joins us. Angela, it's all about the smartphone these days, right?
That's right. 40 million smartphone users in Korea. And it's not just about smartphones. We want to show off our cases. We want to show off our accessories. It's all about that.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we have the smartphone here, as well as 3 accessories that we're going to introduce you to. And let's get to the first one.
Well, the first one, you're playing with the smartphone right now, and I don't know if you noticed, but there is a special application. I think you lost it, Young. Where did it go? There it is. It's the Pocket Photo. So I'm going to open it up, and can I take a picture of you?
You know what? Let's take a picture of the studio over there from our point of view, because there's Minjung and...
Am I in it? There we go, all the cameras.
Minjung, you have to kind of scoot over towards Hyungyung a little bit. But we can actually, oh, no, I still can't get you. All right, there it is, right there.
Hi. Barely, she's peeking out there.
Yeah, you can barely see it, but okay, so what do you do?
So you see, you have this photo, right? I'm gonna save it on this application, and then basically, I'm just gonna take
you just took another picture of
I'll
your
take
hand.
one of you. Ready? Smile. Okay, so if you see here, there's a save function. And then once you save it, it basically is going to connect to the printer and have the photo be printed out. But the key is there's a lot of photo printing gadgets out there, but it gets a little bit messy because you need the
That's
wires.
right. You generally have to hook it up to a computer. It's an external device that hooks up to your computer through the USB port, and you have to hook up your phone to that or a camera to that, and then print through that, right?
But the key with the LG Pocket Photo, or as we call it, Popo, is that it's very easy to print it without having to, get all that out because it uses Bluetooth. So now, as we get this printed, I'm going to go ahead and start that process there. It's going to go and process the photo and get it out there.
That's not the picture that we just took, but okay, that's taken on earlier on.
No, but here's the thing. Bluetooth technology, it's very simple to use, but at the same time, let's say that you do not have it as have Bluetooth, then you can use what's called the NFC. That's the near field communication. And so basically, it doesn't matter where you are, with or without Bluetooth, you can go ahead and print the photo by putting your phone near it, because hence near field communication, right? And then it will link up with your printer system and have the photo print out.
Okay, there it is. It's coming out slowly but surely. You can see the photograph right here.
It takes about maybe roughly 40 seconds for that photo to come out. And sure enough, we're seeing little bits of the studio coming out of this little device. And it's impressive how clear and vivid the photo actually is.
Okay, there you go. It just fell out right there.
If you just don't drop it, right?
Okay, so this is the picture of Eunice Kim getting prepped for the program before we started we got on air. Okay, so it's about the size of a small Polaroid, right? So I guess you can use this as a Polaroid to take these like little pictures and pass them out to friends or decorate your party or your interior with these pictures.
But the thing is, a lot of people are wondering, okay, but how expensive does ink get? How often do I have to change the cartridges,
ink, right?
Now, you see this little paper here? You can feel it's pretty sturdy. It's tear resistant, wrinkle resistant, not to mention you can have it, that extra coating to make it last longer. It doesn't smudge, right? And it uses what's called no ink technology. It uses heat. So you don't need to ever replace ink or
All right, so there's no ink that goes into this device, right? All right, that sounds great. Then it takes your mind off of a couple of factors there. You just need the paper.
So very simple to use, right? That was our first accessory. Now we're going to move over to the end here, and you see that pen type of looking device. If you uncap it, if you twist the cap off here, you can see that it's your average pen, right? So KT, I'm writing upside down, excuse my handwriting. It works perfectly well as a pen. Now, the thing is, it triples. It has 3 rolls. So not only that, but on your smartphone, you can use it kind of like as a stylus.
All right.
So feel the touch technology. It's actually not too bad. It's pretty good.
Okay, I'm not really good with the LG phones. Because I'm just not. All right, there's the widget there, and you can go ahead and open up some stuff there.
It's a great touch technology.
All right,
but
sounds good, smooth.
You can get a stylus pretty much anywhere, right? What's the big deal? Well, the triple roll that it has is you can use it as a Bluetooth headset. So it has a speaker on here, not to mention a microphone, so you can make calls with it. Of course, you can increase the volume, so you can kind of set it on your dashboard maybe while you're driving. And it's easy because sometimes, especially women, we like to keep our cell phones in our purses, and you know the big bags are in. It's hard to find. You have to rummage through, and you hear that noise. It's because I just called myself from the stylus or the pen.
Okay, so that stylus is hooked up to this phone right now, and you made that call to yourself.
And Korea Today is calling me all by using the Yes pen, as it's called.
So you can use this to answer calls too, right? Just put
Yes,
it to your,
that's right.
And it looks kind of funny doing that. I can actually hear it. There are speakers in here.
I'm sorry. I'm going to pick it up. I have a phone call. Hello?
Hi, may I speak with Angela Park, please?
So it works pretty well, right?
All right. Okay, it does work. Sound clarity is fine. So, I mean, you know, Samsung just released the Galaxy Gear, right? This is kind of similar in concept, I guess, but it's a pen instead.
Yeah.
It's like a smart pen.
But what's also great is if this pen and your phone is separated by more than 10 meters, it'll start to vibrate to alert you so that you can kind of keep track of your phone as well.
Okay, lose your phone, turn on the pen, and it'll vibrate.
And if you want to use your earphone, you know, that's an option.
Okay, well, sounds great. All right. The Yes pen.
The Yes pen.
Okay, what's the last item that
Did you notice my phone, though? Did you notice this little bump here?
No, I didn't, but I'm noticing it now.
This is our third item, and this is a whistle case. It's manufactured by Design Chocolate by the sub-brand called Who, but the whistle case, it actually looks pretty trendy. It's nice. There's curvatures here, aesthetically pleasing, various colors, but the practicality of this case is that Young, I mean, you're a father and you're a husband. I'm sure.
My husband?
You are a husband.
Oh, okay.
So when you're wife or children out, especially at dark, it can get pretty dangerous. You know, sometimes. The thing is, as most people know, the key is not to fight off your attacker. It's to just alert the people around you to get help or an attention, bring attention to yourself. That's where this whistle case comes in, because you might want to cover your ears.
Okay, so that's what it does. So it's a whistle case. It protects your phone as well as you in case of an emergency or in case you need to cry for help. You can blow that whistle.
It can go up to 120 decibels, and in the decibel system, that's equivalent to an airplane. So it can get pretty loud. As long as you blow hard enough, you can get help or get the attention you need. And because most people carry their smartphones with them, because there's a lot of other help devices, you know, defendant weapons, but we keep it in our bag, and the key is to get to it quickly. So if you have your smartphone, most people do always in their hand, you can go ahead and blow it.
Okay, and it comes in a variety assortment of colors, so you can choose the color you like and customize to your liking, right?
If you're nice enough, I'll try to get you one. Which color would you like?
I think, well, obviously I'm not going to use it. No one's going to attack me, right? So I'll go ahead and choose the pink one, right?
All right.
All right. All right, well, those are your hot items for today. Angela, thank you so much for joining us and introducing us to 3 great items for the day.
Thank you very much.
All right. And that does it for today's edition of Korea Today. And on behalf of all the cast members and the anchors of Korea Today, have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 a.m.